They sent human special forces, and seconds later, the screams stopped. No one understood what had just happened. The battlefield had been alive just moments ago. Explosions, voices, commands, and panic filled every corner of space and ground. Now there was only silence. A heavy, unnatural silence that made even the strongest soldiers feel uneasy far above the battlefield. Massive alien ships hovered like dark giants, their weapons glowing ready to fire again. Below them, the surface was broken, burned, and filled with the remains of war. The Allied forces were losing. They had been losing for a long time. Every strategy failed. Every defense collapsed. The enemy was too strong, too organized, too ruthless. Entire worlds had already fallen. And now this battlefield was supposed to be their last stand. Inside the main command center, leaders from different species watched the situation unfold, their faces filled with fear and exhaustion. One commander spoke slowly, "We cannot hold them any longer." Another added, "If this line falls, there will be nothing left to defend." The room fell silent. They all knew the truth. This was the end. Then, a quiet voice broke the silence. "Send them all." Eyes turned. A human officer stood in the corner, calm and still, his expression unreadable. One alien leader frowned. "You mean them?" The human nodded once. "Yes." The room shifted. Some looked confused. Others looked worried. One of them asked, "Will it make a difference?" The human officer answered in a low, steady tone, "It will end the war." No one asked how. No one asked what that meant, because something in his voice made them stop. The order was given, a single message sent across space coordinates. Locked authorization confirmed. Time passed slowly. The battle outside continued. Alien forces pushing forward step by step. Allied soldiers falling back, losing ground, losing hope. Then the signal arrived. Human special forces inbound. No large fleet followed. No massive army appeared. Only one small transport entered the battlefield. It moved quietly through space, avoiding detection, until the last moment alien scanners noticed it. A single unknown ship, too small to be a threat, too slow to matter. They ignored it at first, focused on finishing the war. The transport descended toward the surface. No defense systems activated, no weapons fired. It landed in the middle of chaos, dust rising around it, fires burning nearby. The door opened, and they stepped out. No loud entrance, no dramatic movement. Just a small group walking into a battlefield that had already destroyed everything else. Their armor dark, simple, without marks. Their movements calm, controlled. They did not look around. They did not react to explosions in the distance. They simply moved forward. One Allied soldier watching from cover whispered, "Are those the humans?" Another replied, "They do not look like soldiers. They look like something else." The humans kept walking straight toward the enemy lines. Alien forces noticed them now. Scanners marked them as targets, weapons aimed, but something strange happened. The aliens hesitated, not because they were afraid, but because something felt wrong. These were not normal enemies. There was no fear in them, no urgency, no sign of weakness. Just calm, cold calm. One alien commander gave the order, "Eliminate them." Weapons fired, energy blasts moved toward the human unit. The light filled the ground around them, dust and fire rising. For a moment, they disappeared inside the explosion. The Allied soldiers watching felt their last hope fade. But when the light cleared, the humans were still walking, unchanged. Not even slowed. The distance between them and the enemy kept closing, step by step, steady, unstoppable. The battlefield began to change. Sounds started to fade, not all at once, but slowly. Gunfire stopped in one area. Then another. Alien voices cut off mid-command signals. Dropped units stopped responding. Something was happening, something no one could see. The humans did not run. They did not attack in ways anyone could understand. They simply moved, and wherever they passed, the war disappeared. Inside the command center, the leaders stared at the screens. Confusion turned into shock. What are they doing? No one answered, because there were no explosions, no visible fight, and yet enemy forces were vanishing. The human officer in the corner finally spoke again. "Watch closely. This is how humans end wars." Outside, the battlefield grew quieter with every passing second, until finally nothing remained. No gunfire, no screams, no signals, only silence. Deep, heavy silence, the kind that does not come after victory, but after something far more final. They expected soldiers, but what they saw did not feel like soldiers. The human unit kept walking forward without stopping. No one spoke. No one signaled, no visible communication between them yet. Every movement was perfectly aligned, as if they were one mind moving in many bodies. The battlefield around them was still burning smoke. Rising broken machines scattered everywhere. Alien forces regrouped quickly. They were not weak, they were trained for war, and they did not fear easily. Targets. Confirmed, one alien commander said, "Fire again." This time, the attack was stronger, multiple units firing from different angles. Energy blasts surrounded the human team, impact after impact, dust and light covering everything. The Allied soldiers, watching from distance, held their breath. No one moved, no one spoke. When the smoke cleared, the humans were still there, closer now. Their pace unchanged, one step after another, steady, calm, unstoppable. The alien commander felt irritation. "This is impossible. Increase output. All units focus on them." Weapons charged again, but before the next attack could begin, something strange happened. One alien unit at the front line suddenly went silent. No signal, no movement, just stopped. Another unit behind it turned to check its systems, flickered. Then it also went silent. No explosion, no damage, just gone. The commander stared at the display report status. No response came. Units were disappearing, not destroyed, not retreating, just removed as if they had never existed. A cold feeling spread across the command channels. This is not normal warfare. One officer whispered. The humans continued walking, their formation unchanged, their movement smooth. They did not rush toward targets. They did not aim weapons, yet the effect around them kept spreading. Alien drones flying above suddenly lost control, falling from the sky without reason. Ground units froze in place, their systems shutting down. One by one, communication networks began to fail, signals breaking, commands delayed. Confusion grew. The alien commander tried to regain control. All units fall back. Maintain distance, do not engage directly. But the order reached too late. Some units received it, others never did. Their network was collapsing, and with it their coordination, far behind the human unit. One Allied soldier whispered, "They are not fighting, they are doing something else." Another replied, "Whatever it is working." The humans reached the first enemy line, close enough to be seen clearly. Their armor showed no damage, their weapons still unused. One alien soldier faced them directly, its weapon shaking slightly. It fired. The blast hit one of the humans and vanished, as if absorbed into nothing. The soldier froze before it could react. Its own system shut down. Its weapon fell silent, its body locked in place. The humans walked past it, without looking, without stopping. This was not battle. This was something else, something controlled, something precise. Inside the main command center, the leaders watched in disbelief. Entire sections of the battlefield were going dark. Not destroyed, just erased from activity. The human officer stood quietly, his eyes fixed on the screen. "They are removing the fight," he said. One leader turned to him. "How?" The human did not answer, because the answer was not simple. This was not just technology. This was planning, years of understanding, years of preparation. Far outside the battlefield, alien reinforcements began to arrive. Larger units, stronger weapons. They moved quickly toward the human position. The commander shouted, "Surround them, cut them off." And this now, the new forces advanced with full-power weapons, ready systems. Stable for a brief moment, it looked like control would return. The humans stopped. For the first time, they did not move forward. They stood still, facing the incoming forces. The air around them felt heavier, as if something unseen was building. Then it happened. A wave spread outward, silent, invisible, but powerful. It reached the approaching alien units, and everything changed. Their movements slowed, their systems flickered, their weapons powered down. One by one, every unit entering that space began to fail. The advance stopped completely. The alien commander watched, his confidence breaking. "What are they?" he whispered. No one answered, because no one knew. The humans began moving again, step by step, through a battlefield that was no longer fighting back. And as they walked, the silence followed them, growing larger, deeper, until even the strongest warriors understood this was not a fight they could win. This was something they could not even face. No one saw them attack, no flashes of light, no loud impact, no movement fast enough to follow, and yet the enemy kept disappearing one by one. Then groups, then entire lines. The battlefield was still filled with armies, but it no longer felt like war. It felt like something unseen was moving through it, removing everything in its path. The alien command center struggled to understand what was happening. Their systems were still running, but the information made no sense. Units active, then gone. Signals stable, then lost. No damage detected, no explosion recorded, just absence, like something had erased them from the fight. This is not possible. One officer said, "We are losing units without contact." The commander stared at the screen. "Track them." Track the humans. Multiple sensors locked onto the human unit, but their movement was strange. Sometimes they appeared clearly, sometimes they faded slightly, as if the system could not fully detect them. Their position shifted in ways that did not match normal movement. They were not teleporting, but they were not moving normally. Either distance between them and the enemy closed, faster than expected. Angles changed without warning. Time delays appeared in tracking. "This is interference," the commander said. "Increase sensor power, override all limits." Systems pushed harder, but the more they tried to track the humans, the more unstable the readings became, like trying to follow something that did not fully exist in one place. Meanwhile, the humans continued forward, their pace unchanged, their formation perfect, still no visible weapons, still no reaction to the chaos around them. Alien elite units moved in to stop them. These were the strongest warriors, heavily armored, highly trained, designed for direct combat. They advanced with full-force weapons, ready targets, locked. This time, there would be no hesitation. They fired. Multiple attacks hitting the human unit at once. The ground shook, light filled the area when it cleared. The humans were still there, closer, unchanged. The elite units hesitated just for a moment, and that moment was enough. One by one, their systems shut down, armor locking, weapons failing, movement stopping completely. They stood frozen, aware but unable to act. The humans walked through them as if they were no longer a threat, as if they were already defeated. Fear spread, not loud, not chaotic, but deep, the kind that grows when something cannot be understood. The commander tried to hold, control. All units fall back, create distance. Do not engage directly. But the order reached too late. Again, communication delay increased. Some units turned away. Others continued forward. Confusion broke their lines. Their strength turned into disorder. Far above the battlefield, drones sent visual feedback to command. What they showed made everything worse. The humans were not rushing. They were not even looking at their targets. And yet every enemy near them stopped functioning. Perfect timing, perfect control, no wasted movement. "This is not combat," one officer said quietly. "This is removal." Inside the Allied command center, silence filled the room. No one spoke. No one questioned. They simply watched, trying to understand what kind of force had been sent to save them. The human officer stood still, his voice low. "They are not here to fight. They are here to end it." Outside, the battlefield began to change completely. Alien forces stopped advancing, then stopped moving, then stopped responding. Sections of the battlefield went dark. Large areas without signals, without activity, without sound. The humans reached the center of enemy control, the point where commands were sent, where coordination was maintained. They stopped for a brief moment. Everything paused. Then a stronger wave spread outward, faster, wider, touching everything. Remaining active unit systems failed instantly, not slowly, not partially, completely. Communication ended. Weapons died. Engines shut down. The entire battlefield fell into silence. Total silence. No movement, no signals, no resistance. The alien commander stared at the dead screen, his hands shaking. "We are not losing," he said slowly. "We are already gone." No one answered, because deep inside they all knew this was not defeat. This was erasure, and the humans had done it without noise, without chaos, without war. Just quiet control, and now nothing was left to stop them. Nothing at all. The strongest warriors started running, not because they were weak, not because they were afraid of death, but because something worse than death had entered the battlefield. The alien elite units had faced countless wars. They had seen destruction, chaos, and endless fighting, but they had never faced silence like this. A silence that followed the humans wherever they moved, a silence that erased everything. The remaining commanders tried to regain control, their voices shaking but still holding authority. All remaining units, regroup, defensive formation, hold your ground. But their words felt empty because there was no ground left to hold. Every position they tried to form broke apart within seconds. Their systems could not stay stable. Their signals could not stay clear. Their coordination was gone. And without coordination, their strength meant nothing. One elite squad leader looked directly at the approaching human unit. His weapon raised, his breathing heavy. He had trained for years, fought in battles across different worlds. He had never stepped back, but now his instincts told him something different. "This is not an enemy you fight. This is something you escape." He turned and ran. Others followed, not in panic, but in realization they could not win behind them. The humans continued walking, unchanged, unaffected, their pace. steady, their formation perfect. They did not chase, they did not react. And yet, the distance between them and the fleeing units kept closing, as if space itself was helping them, as if escape was not allowed one by one. The running soldiers stopped, not by choice, their systems failing mid-movement. Their armor locking, their weapons going silent, they froze where they stood, unable to move, unable to fight, only able to understand. The humans walked past them, leaving them behind like shadows of a battle already finished. Far above the battlefield, the alien command ships tried to pull back engines, pushed to maximum distance, increasing. But something strange happened. Their coordinates shifted. Their direction changed without command. They were not moving away, they were being redirected slowly. Back toward the same point, the center where the humans stood. This is impossible, the commander said. We are not controlling our own movement. Panic spread across the fleet, large ships turning slightly without input, navigation systems reporting false paths. Escape routes collapsing. There was nowhere to go. The battlefield had become a closed space, controlled completely inside the Allied command center. The leaders watched in silence. What they saw no longer looked like war. It looked like control over reality itself. One of them spoke in disbelief. They are controlling space. The human officer answered quietly. They are controlling the outcome. Outside, the human unit reached the last active resistance, a heavily fortified position. The final command structure of the enemy. If anything remained, it would be here. The humans stopped for a longer moment. This time, the air around them felt heavier, like pressure building before a storm. The enemy forces inside the structure prepared for one final stand. Weapons, charged defenses, activated, every remaining system pushed to its limit. This was their last chance, their last fight. Fire everything. The order was given. Massive energy blasts launched toward the human unit, stronger than anything before. The ground shook. Light filled the entire area. For a second, it looked like the humans had been erased. But when the light faded, they were still there, closer than before, untouched. The defenders froze, their last hope gone. Then the humans moved, not forward, not around, but through, as if the structure did not exist, as if barriers meant nothing. Inside, the command center systems shut down instantly. Screens went dark. Weapons powered off, defenses collapsed. Every soldier inside felt the same thing, their controls slipping away, their movements slowing, their ability to act disappearing. The leader of the structure tried to speak, but his voice never reached anyone. His system failed. His command ended. And just like that, the last point of resistance was gone completely. Outside, the battlefield reached a level of silence no one had ever known. Not a single weapon active, not a single unit moving, only stillness. Deep, heavy stillness. The humans stood at the center of it all, not as conquerors, not as warriors, but as something else, something final, far away. The alien commander looked at the dead battlefield, his voice barely a whisper. This is not war. No one replied because the truth was clear now. War had ended long ago. They just did not realize it until now. And the humans, they had only come to finish what was already decided. Then suddenly, everything stopped. Not slowly, not step by step, but all at once. As if something had reached out and pressed pause on the entire battlefield. Every remaining system went silent. Every signal disappeared. Every movement ended. The war did not fade. It ended in a single moment. The alien forces that once filled the field with power and numbers were now nothing more than still shapes, standing frozen, drifting motionless or locked in place. Their weapons inactive, their engines dead, their voices gone. It was not destruction. It was something colder, something more complete. Inside the alien command ship, the commander stared at the blank display. No incoming signals, no outgoing commands, no connection to any unit. His entire fleet gone from control, gone from response. He tried to speak, open all channels, override system failure, manual command priority. But nothing answered. His own ship flickered. Systems unstable, control slipping. He felt it now. Not fear of death, but fear of losing everything without understanding why. Far below on the battlefield, the human unit stood still for the first time since their arrival. They were not moving. They were not advancing. They were simply standing, as if waiting, as if confirming that nothing remained. Around them, the silence stretched across the entire field. No wind, no fire, no sound. Even the distant ships above seemed frozen in the void. One Allied soldier slowly stepped out from cover. His weapon lowered, his eyes wide. Is it over? He whispered. No one answered, because no one knew the humans had not said anything, had not explained anything. They had only acted, and now there was nothing left to act on. Inside the command center, the leaders looked at the human officer. What did they do? One of them asked. The human remained quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. They removed the threat. The answer felt too simple, too small for what they had just witnessed outside. One of the alien ships suddenly powered up briefly, a weak signal forming a final attempt to communicate. We surrender, the message, repeated again and again, broken, desperate. The humans did not respond, not immediately. They remained still, observing, as if deciding whether anything left was still a threat. Seconds passed, then minutes. The silence continued, heavy, unforgiving. The alien commander sent the signal again. We surrender. We will not fight, just end this. His voice cracked through the transmission, not strong, not proud, but broken. For the first time, there was no resistance, no challenge, only acceptance. Far below, the human unit moved again. Just one step forward, then another, slow, deliberate. They approached the last active signal, not with urgency, not with aggression, but with certainty, as if the outcome had already been decided, as if this final moment was only a formality. The alien ship flickered, its systems barely alive. As the humans came closer, its remaining power faded. Not forced, not attacked, just fading like everything else had, until finally it went silent too completely. The last signal disappeared. The battlefield reached total silence. No movement, no sound, no life in combat, only stillness, complete, final. Inside the human command channel, a calm voice spoke. All hostile presence neutralized. No active threats remain. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of everything that had just happened, far away. The human officer in the command center nodded slowly. It is done, he said. The leaders looked at him, their faces filled with questions, but none of them asked, because deep inside, they already understood. This was not a victory. This was an ending that came without chaos, without noise, without war. The humans had not fought. They had removed the fight itself. Outside, the human unit turned slightly, as if receiving a final command. Then they began to leave, not running, not rushing, just walking away as quietly as they had arrived, leaving behind a battlefield that no longer existed, only a memory, a silence and a truth that no one would ever forget. When humans send their special forces, war does not happen. It ends when humans finally spoke. It was already over. There was no battlefield anymore. No war, no movement, no sound, only silence stretching across space and ground. Like something heavy and endless, the human unit had already begun to leave, their steps slow, calm, unchanged, as if nothing had happened, as if they had only passed through a place that no longer mattered behind them. The remains of the alien forces stayed, frozen ships, drifting, lifeless soldiers locked in place, systems completely dead. Did not look like victory. It looked like something had been erased. Far above the surface, the last alien command ship flickered weakly, its power unstable, its systems barely alive. Inside, the commander sat still, his hands resting without strength, his eyes fixed on the empty displays. He had commanded countless wars. He had crushed worlds without hesitation. He had believed nothing could stand against them. But now he understood. They had not been defeated. They had been ended. A weak channel opened one final time. His voice came through, broken and low. We surrender. There was no reply. Not immediately. The silence returned again, long enough to feel endless, long enough to understand that surrender no longer mattered. Then a new signal appeared, not loud, not threatening, just clear. You were given time, you chose war. The words were simple, but they carried something deeper. Not anger, not pride, just truth. The commander closed his eyes for a moment. We did not understand. He said quietly. The signal answered. You still do not. And that was all. No speech, no explanation, no negotiation, only acceptance of what had already happened far across the galaxy. The event began to spread. Reports moved from system to system, from one world to another, a battlefield that went silent, an empire that vanished. A human force that arrived and left without leaving a trace. Leaders gathered voices, lowered plans, changed because something had become clear. Humans were not like others. They did not show power. They did not announce their strength. They waited. They observed, and when they acted, it was already too late for anyone to stop them. Back on the battlefield, a few Allied soldiers slowly moved forward, careful, unsure, their weapons lowered. They walked through the remains, looking at frozen enemies, silent ships, dead systems. One of them whispered, "What did they do?" Another replied softly, "They ended it." No one could say how, no one could explain what had truly happened, because there had been no visible fight, no final explosion, no moment of victory, just a quiet shift, and then nothing. The human unit reached their transport. The door opened. They entered without a word. No celebration, no report, no reaction. The transport lifted slowly from the ground, rising into the silent sky, leaving behind everything, as if it had never been part of it inside the command center. The human officer watched the final signal disappear. His face calm, his voice low. "They are done." One of the leaders looked at him. "Are they always like this?" The human paused for a moment, then answered, "Only when it matters." Outside, the transport vanished into space, joining the endless dark, gone. Just like the war, just like the enemy, just like everything that had stood against them. The silence remained, not empty, but full of meaning, full of warning. A message that did not need to be spoken again, because now the galaxy understood: when humans send their special forces, it is not to fight, it is not to win, it is because the war is already finished, and all that remains is silence.